get like that first kill, we don't hear the yelling and the hype like we did here when they were getting the kills. And it seems like as a team, they need that kind of hype in the fights to really keep pushing the advantage they have and go for these kills. So there's just two very different comps, and really the big difference for me is how Power People is saying, should we just go?
Yeah.
And then they get in a bad fight and lose.
Yeah, so not the greatest leadership, as it were. We'll see if the momentum is with the Unicorns of Love or not. Fisher, you seem to feel the energy in the one team fight against SK is what helped push them over the edge. We're 5 bans down. Let's run through these really quickly. Cassio, Annie, Rek'Sai taken off the table for ROCCAT, Zed, Killister, and the final ban will be the Morgana from Unicorns. Nidalee available.
Nidalee is open, yeah, with Rek'Sai banned. There's a go-to jungler after the Java nerf. Will leave the likes of Gnar and Lissandra open for Visichachi. He's a very big Gnar fan. We know he often even just locks it in instantly if it is open first pick or first rotation. No real surprise in terms of bans, except for the fact that Unicorns did not ban Nidalee. They allowed ROCCAT to get it, despite, sorry, just got some water there.
Dying a little bit.
A few Tiger bans here and there, and that's Visichachi.
So we'll see what Unicorns of Love decide to lock in. This is an incredibly important game for both of these teams. ROCCAT.
No music for you guys.
4, and you broke it. This is your fault. This is your fault, Officio. ROCCAT 4 and 8. They are at risk of dropping into this promotion tournament with another loss. They're in touching distance of the Giants, who are currently at 4 and 9. So we'll see what happens with ROCCAT. Jankos. Actually, that's Nuktak rather.
That was a very early blind pick Maokai coming in. Not really looking at the comps. They were clearly expecting the Ahri from Unicorns once they took Nidalee as the first pick. And because we both have like Lissandra and Gnar open and other top lane picks, you don't have to go for those early on. So it's a very early Maokai coming in for Nidalee. Normally you see people wait and they see like, okay, is it like a burst comp coming in? So we pick Maokai because he can now avoid basically getting one-shotted and have the 20% damage reduction. He can get onto these targets like an Ahri, obviously, and then shut it down. So once they see that one, that's where they respond instantly and say, we need this tank top lane. And with Nidalee already locked into in the jungle, there's a high chance we're just going to see a fairly standard like Xerath Corki maybe coming in for them, where you have a 1-4 setup with their Maokai, like applying pressure on a lane, and then you have a fantastic poke composition to siege towers, and you have that Janna for the disengage despite her being changed here on 5.4.
Yeah, I'm glad you bring that up. Janna's passive only going to be applied when people are running towards her. And we'll see how ROCCAT make that work. Unicorns locked in Lee Sin as well as Siva. So mobility, running crazy in team fights is what they're going to be looking to do. For ROCCAT, they are going to lock in the Kog'Maw and the Lulu. So Lulu mid, going to go for, is this a Juggermaw a la
I think we can call
LCK?
it that. Yeah, we can. Wow.
So, Poppy's a thing.
It is a Visichachi thing, for sure. And it's a special he likes to bring out when he's against tanks. It used to be against Mundo. He would go Poppy. Now he's doing it against a Maokai as well. Sadly for Poppy, there's a thing called lane swapping, which does set her very far behind. She is already fairly weak in the early game, and she needs items to be effective, to be a late game monster, which she will become at some point.
So, Unicorns of Love pulling out a valiant fighter, Paragon of Demacia, Poppy. We've seen it before. Chachi is a top laner that has been famed for using these unique picks in the past.
Right.
But you're saying lane swap. That's what ROCCAT could and should do to get their Kog'Maw into the right position.
Well, there's two things they can do. Either you do standard lanes, and because you have a Maokai who's so good at setting up ganks, you just camp the Poppy early with Nidalee and Maokai together. Nidalee, of course, with a very insane early game. Or you lane swap and you try and really deny farm because she's a melee champion. There's nothing she can do in a 2v1 situation to farm, and she needs items to be effective late game. Levels are not enough for her. But that being said, Twitter first. Then we talk about the comps again.
So, hashtag ROC win, hashtag UOL win. Let us know who you think is going to take it as added value. Every popular vote has been wrong today. 4 for 4. If you're suspicious, cast your votes now. We'll see who comes out on top.
Back to the Poppy.
Back to the Poppy.
Unicorns of Love and their comp. They have a setup which should work pretty well for Visichachi because you have the Severe ulti to speed him up as well with his own mobility, so he can get to the backline, get to the targets, And when he dives in deep and his ulti runs out, you have a Lantern from the Thresh standing in the backline, pulling you back out, making sure you can stay alive. So he should be able to get onto the backline. Obviously ignore that Janna here. She won't really be able to peel too much. Now it's going to be about the Lulu instead with the extra health, the shielding.
Well, this isn't going to help if Vizicsacsi gives up first blood. 4 members of ROCCAT nearby. Chachi's knocked up in the air. They've used exhaust.
Well, we did say you could camp the Poppy.
Well, I don't know if that's camping so much as face checking.
Have you never been camping in the bush and then suddenly Poppy shows up? Standard.
Not personally.
No?
Not personally, and not on the LCS stage either.
Sad for you, Trevor.
With a great first blood, 3 assists on the board.
Yeah.
What do you think of that start, Deficio?
I think it was a great start from Vizicsacsi. Because he got information of ROCCAT where they were at level 1. Doesn't matter if you die in Poppy. You need to go late game anyway.
He got exhaust as well.
Yes,
like, that's
and you have to go late game anyway. You can die 10 times. As long as you get farm and kills.
And
that's it.
Everything else. Great ward from ROCCAT.
Yeah, gonna spot everything. Can even see the wall over here. So no sneaking around from the sides of Unicorns. They will be spotted. And now ROCCAT knows, ROCCAT knows the dual lane is going top side. Gonna send the mark up there. So they will get the 2v1 lane swap we mentioned. Let's see if they can deny Vizicsacsi. And what are they gonna do? Are they gonna freeze the wave, which I think they should do? Double ranged in the bottom lane and just poke him out. Don't risk diving a Poppy with their annoying passive anyway. So just freeze this wave here from ROCCAT side.
So ROCCAT, gonna see if they hold this lane up. Vander's moved up into Unicorn's jungle to see whether or not any members of Unicorns were around.
Not freezing the wave though.
There's Cogmore. Let's have a look. Not doing that. So maybe some CS available to Vizicsacsi if he moves into place. But as we touched on this, there's a lot of support here for this Cogmore. Attack speed from Nidalee, shield and on hits from Lulu, as well as the attack damage from Janna. It's just going to accelerate this power spike for Woolite on Cogmore.
It's going to be all about killing that hyper carry who has so much protection, peel from a Maokai. You get even the attack speed buff of a Nidalee in a fight. I mean, you're going to go mental here if you're Woolite, but it requires you to stay alive. And there is Lee Sin who's going to go for you and try and kick you back. There's the Poppy who, of course, going to dive towards you. You won't be able to lock down in terms of CC. In that case, you will get to your carry at some point. And then, of course, the Ahri, if you can set up proper vision control for picks, that's going to be the go-to thing for the Unicorns. All about diving this hyper carry and kill Woolite. And the funny thing is, whenever he's playing hyper carries, ROCCAT tend to lose.
Yeah.
Because late game, he makes some fairly bad decisions, I think it's safe to say.
Well, he gets
and then he gets caught out.
Yeah.
And then he dies. And then, we had this hyper carry who we just tunnel all our gold into for 30 minutes or 40 minutes. Now he's dead. It's not going to work.
Well, we'll see if it does this time round, Deficio. ROCCAT 4 and 8 at risk of being tied for 9th place if they suffer a loss. We do see that Hylissang is moving to support Chachi, and Jankos shows his face in the middle lane.
So I just want to go back to level 1. Not Chachi dying, but the lane itself in the bottom lane. The reason ROCCAT didn't freeze it was because they were getting information of where Unicorns and Love were in the map with their dual lane. So once they saw them on the ward, they started moving to the bottom lane, but they were too late. So they didn't manage to catch the wave in time. And when you want to freeze, what you need to do is you walk into the enemy minion wave when it arrives, and you group the minions up 6 together. And then when your minions walk in 1 by 1, all those 6 minions will focus the first minion walking from you, starting a push that goes towards your tower. That's what needs to happen, but they weren't there in time because they were waiting to spot where Unicorns were setting their lane. And what you did see before was Unicorns, they stopped at the inhibitor. With Sivir and Thresh, they stopped there and said, okay, we need to wait. Once we show ourselves, we need to make sure that ROCCAT doesn't have enough time to set up a freeze, and that was basically what they were waiting for. So this allows now Vizicsacsi to get farm. All about those mind games early on, and ROCCAT really going for that lane swap so hard, and it ends up basically costing them a little bit.
So we'll see how much it costs them, Deficio. Vizicsacsi 18 CS to the 20 of Overpower. Thanks to First Blood, Overpower is able to grab that Doran's ring, second one rather. He's farming himself up relatively well. Overpower and Jankos grouping themselves up to look for some sort of engage. If you combo Maokai's CC plus the damage from Nidalee and utility from Lulu, somebody could be in trouble, but there's no one around, and ROCCAT just going for the invade. Gonna take those Razorbeaks down. Wait for that wave in the top to reset. Vardek's just solo farming, as you do.
Yeah, it will be pushed.
They're going in now. They found Power of Evil. This is exactly what we touched on. Yankos pounces in and Nuke Duck secures the first kill. Now, Death Sentence connects from Hylissang with the support of Kikis, but Woolite and Vanda able to push away the melee champions of Unicorns of Love. Next to no real damage applied, and ROCCAT able to fend off the aggression.
Very surprised that Power of Evil here could die. He sees their Maokai and the Nidalee leave the top lane, and he hasn't seen them for a while, and that's where you will always expect, okay, they are on the top side of the map. If I overextend right here with 0 wards, they're gonna come and kill me. And that's exactly what happened. He didn't respect it. He stood in the middle of the lane, got locked down, giving up a first blood now to ROCCAT. Oh, sorry, a second blood.
Second blood.
We can say, to ROCCAT. And he's so important in this game on this RA because you need to be able to assassinate targets from the side of Unicorns. Otherwise, you're not going to win the team fights with so much shielding and peel on the side of ROCCAT.
We'll see how ROCCAT plays this lead out. Traditionally, they're actually the 3rd strongest team in Europe at 10 minutes when it comes to gold. It's a small advantage, but they tend to have about a 300 gold lead at 10 minutes. And then that dwindles down to minus 800 at 20 minutes. So it's the 10 to 20 minute mark once a tower is dropped or 2 and teams are moving between dragons. ROCCAT seem to lose control. Woolite's caught by a death sentence. And he eats a boomerang blade from Vardags. And we are going to see head-to-head matches. So Chachi with the makings of a Sheen has gone top lane.
So a thing that happened here for Unicorns, they did well, was they decided to swap the lanes back to get the Poppy in the one-on-one lane. And ROCCAT didn't react well enough. You can see how Woolite has to go back now and pick up his first item. He also wanted to get enough for that Sheen, but he had more than plenty because he also picked up boots. What you need to do in a lane swap is when you see the enemy AD carry recall from the top side, you know there's a high chance he's swapping back down to you, and he's obviously going to have an item on his way. So if you're still sitting on a Doran's Blade, you have to recall as well, as long as you have enough gold to get whatever item you need. Go back while he's recalling or while he's running to your lane, so you return in there in time to defend it and not risk giving up a whole wave and a lot of damage on your tower because you were forced to recall while the Sivir with her pickaxe were already in the lane itself. So that was just bad timing by Woolite and Vanda here, not respecting that Vardags could come down to this bottom lane with the pickaxe to own a Doran's Blade earlier.
So that tower got chunked really heavily. We'll see whether or not Vardags and Hylissang can take it out in the not too distant future. We do see that Kikis on this Lee Sin. First one of the day, actually, on 5.4. Got himself that Skirmisher's Saber, going to have a slightly slower clear speed. Overpower is going to get knocked into the wall by the Chachi's heroic charge. If they connect to the wall, it will stun. Those of you who don't see Poppy all too often.
This lane swap really didn't work out for ROCCAT. Because they got so late to the lane, they couldn't set up that freeze we mentioned. There was a lot of farm picked up by Chachi because Hylissang as well joined him by the time the wave arrived, securing all the farm for him. Now he's also successfully been able to swap back to the one-on-one lane in top. And look at his farm. Close to his 2 LKs. He's basically dead even. So he didn't really lose anything in this swap. And that was really not good.
First blood.
And just gotta give credit to Unicorns. If they did it on purpose with the way they were delaying, showing themselves on that ward in the top lane between the inhibitor and the tier 2 tower, to make sure the ROCCAT couldn't move early to a lane and set up a freeze, then that was just really, really smart mind games and securing farm for Chachi. That's gonna pay off for them later on.
Yeah, we'll see whether or not Chachi can make that work. There's so much he needs to get through from ROCCAT's side before he can shut down Woolite. But if he does, he'll be able to make this work. We do see Yankos moving into position, but Chachi does have access to diplomatic immunity, throws it down onto Overpower. So no damage possible from Yankos. Successful gank, the use of the ultimate, but nothing further gained. Yankos trying to keep that Poppy down. Not working this time around.
No, good use of ulti from Chachi onto the Maokai. Completely avoiding the burst of Nidalee. But this bottom lane, we mentioned before how Woolite had a bad back timing, so the tower is down to 50%. Vardags and Hylissang can keep pushing it in, which means slowly but surely they will get a tower here for themselves. As long as they don't lose this top tower in the meanwhile, it's a win for Unicorns. So you can see Yankos already sitting on the top side of the map, knowing that he might be needed to defend it because Poppy on her own doesn't have any wave clear. If Yankos decides to push it in, then they will get it from ROCCAT's side. And Yankos staying around.
Yeah, Kikis supporting.
Oh, sorry, Kikis.
Kikis supporting, hanging around, as you mentioned.
Kikis, Yankos, same deal.
It's been a long day. Five games is a bit killer. But one thing I do want to touch on.
One of them was 67 minutes.
Actually, well played, dude. Vardex and Hylissang, they were respecting that bottom lane once Vander returned. But something we do need to touch on, Officio, since Power of Evil gave up a kill in the lane, he's now fallen 20 CS behind Nukeduck at 10 minutes on the clock. Nukeduck's got a kill, 100 CS, a completed Athenes, and this is a very good position for Nukeduck, considering the sooner his Lulu becomes powerful, the easier it will be to keep Woolite alive and to buy time for him to kite. So
100%. And suddenly you also have to respect the little damage coming in, so you cannot just dive Woolite every fight. You have to look at Nukeduck, at Jankos, and play around that as well. And we see Power of Evil, so he's going for this Abyssal Scepter first, which is fairly standard in Europe when you're against a lot of AP damage, which we have on the side of ROCCAT. The problem about this item, as I mentioned earlier in the day, is you delay your core damage items. Because you want to have like a Morel Nomicon, you want to have a Death Cap, and you want to have a Void Staff. That's where you can start really killing people. When you go Abyssal Scepter first, your Void Staff suddenly comes in as the 4th item, 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes later in the game. And that's a big window where Power of Evil, I'm going to get some water after, might lack some damage to blow off a target, because it's going to be their name of the game for Unicorns.
I think
long team fights is not in favor of them. You got to kill people while the Poppy ulti is on, otherwise you lose.
Well, we'll get back to that in a moment or two. Unicorns of Love have started off a Dragon. They have 4 members on the target. Howling Gale comes out very close, but just late. And Kick is able to secure the first Dragon of the game. Division, the one thing that also doesn't work into Power of Evil's favor is the fact that he's got to blow somebody up with all of that protection. Right, there's a Chachi caught out. Takes a lot of damage from Overpower. He was just comboing his abilities, but Chachi does have access to his ultimate. It will render him immune to everyone else's damage, but whoever he puts it on. Who is he going to throw it on? It's Overpower. Jankos decides not to tank. Chachi's looking for a target. Will this be enough for him to get away? There's no support. It's only 6 seconds of immunity. Now Overpower tanks the turret, resets, and a relatively well-executed dive from ROCCAT.
Yeah, I really like the play. Really like the play from ROCCAT. We mentioned how Maokai can very easily set up a gank on the likes of a Poppy, very mobile target in this case, and then Jankos simply ganks it twice. No real help coming in from Kikis. That's a tower for them, and might even get more.
Oh, Kikis is in trouble. Gets jumped on.
Why did he go in?
And just donates a kill. Looking very confused. ROCCAT will take it. 4-0, a tower, and a 3,000 gold lead.
So what we're going to have to see from Unicorn's side now that they really are falling behind in gold is instead of them trying to assassinate a target in a fight, they're going to have to split up in 1-3-1. And let's see, Vardex really low. He has heal ready, but suddenly ROCCAT is returning the damage onto the tower. And they're getting pressure in every single lane. Jankos now on this mid lane can just go to the bottom lane after if this tower doesn't die this time, which it will. Well, then he just goes mid lane instead, push that one in with Nukeduck, and suddenly you have 3 outer turrets down. And suddenly again, Unicorns, it's going to be more about split pushing now. Keep that Poppy in the side lane with the Maokai where she's going to be a lot stronger. Potentially use Power of Evil in the other side lane. And that's how you might be able to split up ROCCAT and not allow them to run this protect the hyper carry style. Where as it looks now, Unicorns are not going to kill anything in a straight-on 5-on-5 fight.
No, my biggest concern for them is the composition they have to get through. Multiple heals, knockbacks, shields, knockups, damage reduction. ROCCAT can protect quite a few targets, actually, especially because they've got themselves such a massive lead. Hylissang unable to connect with the death sentence. There's some support from Unicorns moving in, but that was the box burned. Just because Kikis and Hylissang were under a little bit of pressure.
And we saw the tier in Italy earlier from quite a few junglers now in Europe.
I think it was 3 in a row.
Yeah. Jankos is taking their different route where he goes Rod of Ages instead. Kikis taking the lantern out, but he goes Rod of Ages simply to make him a bit more of a tank, because the damage for ROCCAT is not going to come from him late game. It's about Woolite, it's about Nukeduck. So by him being a bit more tanky, it allows him to be annoying and try and go a little bit towards the front or the back line of Unicorns and simply stay alive here to provide more protection for his hyper carry. So he's changing up the style a little bit. I personally like Tier more, but I know Amazing is a big fan of Rod of Ages just because it makes you fairly tanky and it removes the only weakness of a Nidalee, which is that she's so squishy, and if you lock her down, you just blow her up instantly. Rod of Ages will somewhat save you with that extra HP.
Well, as long as Jankos doesn't get caught by a death sentence, there's not a whole lot, really, to
Charm.
lock him down. And we'll see how that works out for him. A lot of mobility on that Nidalee. Trinity Force completed for Woolite. 133 CS, 15 minutes on the clock. ROCCAT are just accelerating away with this game. And thanks to the inherent safety in their team comp, it's going to allow them to just keep sieging towers.
Yeah.
Middle tower is the next target, as you rightly corrected, Deficio, after the bottom went down.
And that's the thing for Woolite. Once he gets the Trinity Force, he's not that weak, honestly. Especially not with the Lulu shield and a Janna shield as well. So you can make these early pushes. You don't have to sit and farm to 2 or 3 items. No, you can put pressure on the map. And because we mentioned how Unicorns are falling behind, they did catch Woolite though.
Yeah, Woolite hooked up with the charm. The Wild Growth is already out. But look at the damage in reply. That was Unicorns of Love connecting onto Woolite. And still coming off worse for wear. But they are down a very large amount of gold. And ROCCAT are continuing the siege.
You can just keep pushing up. You still have the shields. You can always get a few hits when you have a Trinity Force. It's all about the one Sheen auto attack onto the tower, especially with the Janna shield as well. Well, slowly poke it down. As long as Unicorns won't be able to suddenly get a random flank on you, which is impossible in this case because ROCCAT noticed the warding they've set up as well before starting the push. Everything has been warded up. The only chance for Unicorns now is a random TP with a home guard Poppy behind to stop the siege and get Woolite. Now he has no flash. Otherwise, that tower will slowly but surely, next time ROCCAT groups, go down.
Well, I think it's very scary if you are ROCCAT to see that Woolite has already eaten a death sentence at 16 minutes in, the very first time they've grouped to siege. And, you know, it is a little unfair to call ROCCAT out because they're in such a great position, but Woolite does have a tendency to be in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah, I think that's safe to say.
So we'll see if Unicorns can take advantage of that. They really have to dig deep. They have to rely on the wave clear from Siva and from Ari to buy them time.
But that's the problem, because if you're forced to sit and wave play with Siva and Ari, you're never going to create any picks. There's always going to be full vision from the ROCCAT side on you. And that just makes it even harder for you to get that one kill or to get to one of these carries from ROCCAT. So that's not the way Unicorns want to play the game. When you have Ari, when you have LeBlanc, these assassins who can blow up targets, you need to have that vision control. So you're forcing teams to come in and face stick you. Get a charm in your face, get a LeBlanc in your face, and you're dead. That's it. Suddenly Dragon goes over, or tower, to the team running this assassin. When you're forced to just sit and wave clear, well, you could have picked a Zeref instead in that case. He would have done it better and still offered more in a team fight. So clearly for Unicorns, they're not happy doing it. That's why we see them move away towards this Dragon. No flash Woolite, remember? They're going for him.
And Woolite is hooked once again. Unicorns have caught him. Ecathian surprise. Down 7,000 gold in the Unicorns. They're running rampant. We did see the Wild Growth coming up. Unicorns looking for more. Diplomatic immunity is ticking away as Chachi does not manage to get the stun, but he does get some more burst onto Nuke Duck. Unicorns of Love find the carry and they take him down. They're grouped on Dragon, but ROCCAT are using the poke from Nidalee to their advantage. Look at those javelins coming out. Overpass coming in for the TP, but no target is available yet. Dragon is down to half HP. ROCCAT continue to tank it up. They are the targets of the Dragon. Woolite has respawned, he's leaving base. But I think ROCCAT have defended the Dragon just for now. Ooh, Flash Charm doesn't connect, Deficio.
I was about to say, talk time or not, nope, Flash Charm incoming. And they managed to push him off. Woolite is going to return. So while he died, and once we get the replay, there are two very crucial mistakes from the side of ROCCAT there. But we got to see Unicorns. They got away from defending at least for a moment, got a kill, didn't get the Dragon, and now they might just be back in the same situation, full HP for Woolite, and we're back to pushing this mid lane.
So let's see if Unicorns can survive the onslaught. Tower will obviously go down. Yankos gets caught. That is another squishy target, but it's not going to be enough. And a lot of praise has to be given to Hellesang. He is landing death sentences crucially. Yes, they've got 1 kill in 3, but it hasn't equated to more, and ROCCAT will gain the Dragon.
We talked about how when you have Ari, you play around vision control. What happened before here was there was an open area where there was 0 wards from ROCCAT that allowed Unicorns to group as 5. And then, because Woolite were trying to spot them with his ulti, he got caught in a bad situation. He couldn't see where they were coming from. He couldn't really see, well, he saw where they were coming from. He just couldn't react in time once the engage happened. That was a good setup by the Unicorns. But from the side of ROCCAT, Vander and Woolite need to stand nearly on top of each other at all times. There's no AoE CC from Unicorns. It's like a charm, that's single target. It's a hook, that's single target. So these two guys need to stand together in case Woolite gets caught out. you have the Janna ulti to instantly disengage. That last pick here, Woolite was standing so far ahead of the rest of his team that once he got caught, there was no disengage ulti coming in. Vander tried, but he was too far back.
Yep.
And that's why Woolite ended up dying. He was trying to check, okay, we have no wards around this dragon area in the small bush. I gotta use my ulti to see if they're standing there waiting. And then they just popped the Sivir ulti because they played it correct on Unicorn's side. Got the 1 kill.
So Unicorns have to find a few more of those miracle team fights to make it work. They're still down a very large amount of gold, down 3 towers, down 3 kills. Even on Dragons, as we have broached the 20-minute mark. Deficio, I think we're in for a long one again, so get comfy. And one thing I want to touch on, all of that work that Vardags and Hylissang have done in the bottom lane, on the tower, the fact that Woolite had backed early, and we talked on how impactful it was. Unicorns have yet to take a tower down. We did see Vardags pushing this wave a few moments ago before he moved middle. But Woolite is available. He's going to shut it down. Unicorns desperately looking for global gold. Power of Evil desperately looking for a kill. Good committed, but no vision. And Power of Evil's going to back away.
We see them try to 1-3-1. We see them try to make solo plays. Simply because they know if they are grouped, they will allow ROCCAT to do the same kind of siege as before. Problem is, they're not getting any targets on it. Lulu is basically defending the mid lane on her own against 3 guys or 2 guys. And now they can just go straight for Power of Evil. They're going to push this one up. Unicorns have to react now. Either get a kill top in a tower or go back and defend the bottom lane.
Well, let's see what Unicorns decide to do. We did see Woolite eat that charm in retreat, but it didn't equate to anything more. And there's not enough members of Unicorns around. They're a little late. Woolite gets a massive critical hit and instantly follows up with Living Artillery. So Woolite plus Vander secure the 5th kill of ROCCAT's game. Kikis has backed away from top. So Unicorn's hand is forced, and they're in trouble. Woolite is chasing Hylissang down, Living Artillery after Living Artillery. But look at that.
Got
the damage from Lulu, the damage from Janna. The chasing power. ROCCAT get their 4th tower of the game and are in absolute control.
It's what you can do on the Joggermo, as Monty and Doa likes to call it when it's played in Korea. You can play so aggressive. You can be in the front. You can go for these kills onto the likes of an Ahri, onto a Thresh, because you have so many shields and so much disengage behind you in case anything happens. But here for ROCCAT, all they're doing is basically saying to Unicorns, you're never gonna get to spray push. You're never gonna pick us off because we're gonna run together as a team. At least 2 or 3 guys. Always a buddy system. Always stay close to your friend. Like school trips when you were younger. Just hold hands with your mate. You never get lost. And that's what ROCCAT are doing. Meaning, no picks coming in for Power of Evil. He's forced to sit back in his own tower, and that's where ROCCAT's comp is just going to be so much better.
Well, let's see what ROCCAT decides to do. Woolite again eats a skill shot. Kikis tries to engage, but the wild growth keeps him up. I know we said Woolite eats skill shots, but it is getting a little bit silly now.
Yes.
But he survives, and ROCCAT continue the siege. Still in complete control as they're on the inner turret, Deficio.
And if they hit, whoa, they're going Power of Evil.
This time around it hits Jankos. Jankos gets caught by the death sentence. Vardags is out in the back line, but it's a double kill for Woolite as he manages to drop Hylissang. We do see him getting popped in return, but Vizichachi's being run down by 3 members of ROCCAT. Kikis a little late to the party. Nukeduck is looking for a little lance. He flashes over the wall, does get the kill. Now Kikis looking to set one up. Gonna knock Nukeduck against the tower. That laser really burning. Kikis is flashing for this one. It's got a little bit of a slow. Sonic Wave connects, decides not to follow it through. 2 versus 4 in the team fights. Unicorns of Love just got tower dove all the way to their base.
Yeah, even caught Woolite first. Ultis were blown to defend him. ROCCAT went back to hit the tower. Another engage came in. There was a flash engage, I believe, from Power of Evil to start the seed again. So this is the first one where they catch Woolite. And they blow. Let's see how many ultis they get. Not a single one. Oh, sorry, Lulu, sorry. Lulu popped the wild growth. I was like, oh, where's the Monsoon coming in? So, ROCCAT, keep pushing up. Now, Lulu ulti is down. Monsoon is the only thing left. Flash Charm once the minion wave dies. That is fine. They get Jankos, but here, they're missing a guy because he's in the base. Kikis right now. It's only 4 members from Unicorn. They keep trying to fight. And while they will get a kill or 2, get Woolite in the end from Vizichachi and Power of Evil, they still lose the fight. Only 4 guys going in. It is so hard for him to kill this hyper carry. And if you do really want to play around Woolite, I think this is the right comp to do it, because even when he gets caught out, there's so many ways of protecting him. We're probably going to get a Mikhail's coming in later from Vander as well, just denied a charm, and then it's going to be nearly impossible.
Well, you have to think, how would that team fight have gone if Unicorns of Love were not 8,000 gold down? How different could it have been if Power of Evil wasn't forced to go Abyssal Scepter first item?
Well, nobody forced him.
Nobody forced him, to be fair, but he was down a little bit. Unicorns of Love, 71% fan vote. Deficio, I mentioned this right at the beginning. 4 votes out of 4, the public have voted and have unfortunately been wrong. ROCCAT are in the lead by a significant margin. It may just be 5 out of 5, so if you are superstitious, take from that what you will. Chachi and Overpower, very elongated fight, but Chachi didn't commit and ROCCAT get their second dragon of the game.
We have the 2 fully stacked Rod of Ages now from them. No punishment for Jankos, even though he got a fairly, I'm going to say late Rod of Ages, around like 18-minute mark. As a jungler, that's not late, but when you normally see it from solo laners, we're talking 12, 13 minutes at max. But he managed to get it, stack it fully up. Another tower going down once again. ROCCAT are dictating map. They get to play their comp correctly, and Unicorns cannot respond with anything.
No, they can't. ROCCAT are completely grouped up. Overpower's going to teleport in with that front line and the Woolite, Blade of the Ruined King, Trinity Force. They secure the 6th tower of the game. They've jumped onto Hillisang. He is just melted from ROCCAT as they take their first kill. Now, here comes Vizichachi. What can he do? He's trying to run down Woolite. Is motoring through. We do see the exhaust gets put down onto Power of Evil as Chachi goes through the base gates. Power of Evil's the next victim as ROCCAT now set their sights onto Vardags. He's rooted in place. Spell Shield's not going to be enough. ROCCAT with a decisive inhibitor. 4 kills in a minion wave. They're pushing onto the Nexus turrets. There are massive smiles on ROCCAT's face.
Yeah, 20 seconds here and 3 guys from Unicorns of Love. Only Chachi to defend. He has 0 wave clear. He got to go for some hero move here if he wants to stop it.
It's not going to be enough. He gets turned into a munchkin. He's going to force to get away as quickly as he can. Laser will almost kill Jankos, but he stays alive. ROCCAT did manage to get 1 Nexus turret, but they're not done yet. Another minion wave has conga-lined itself in. Both Nexus turrets are down. ROCCAT at 28 minutes have got absolute control. Hell, they've had absolute control all game.
Yes, all game.
And now it's just a matter of time before they take out the Nexus.
They've really been able to control this game from the start. First spot on Vizichachi. Obviously got the second spot in the mid lane where Power of Evil, who's not been having a good game.
No.
For some reason, didn't even expect him to come and gank him there after they just left the top lane. There's just been so many mistakes from the Unicorns, and we get to see this thing again where if they don't get a good start to the game, if Power of Evil especially doesn't snowball his lane, they really don't seem to know what to do and how to like get back in the game. So they've tried a few good picks, but we gotta praise ROCCAT for saying they have changed up their pick and ban style here. We haven't seen Overpower, oh well, a little bit. We haven't seen Overpower too much on the likes of like full tanks like Maokai. He's been trying to play more carry top laners. It's not been working for him. He's been a weak top laner, honestly. The swap from mid lane to top for him. Now you put him on a utility, massive tank, where it's not about him anymore, winning the game on his own. Okay, next point. You have an AD carry who likes to play late game, with great mechanics, and you trust in him, but he's let you down so many times before. He's been caught out and died. So what do? You draft a comp around him that says, you can get caught, it's fine, we will still protect you, and you can still kill people.
So Fisher, something that you touched on when we listened to the Unicorns of Love team calls and the team communication was how you felt the Unicorns were very hyper, and when they were hyper and they had the momentum and excitement, they did well. Giving up first blood to a face check has got to be something that kills the mood. It's got to be something that saps some of your energy, despite the fact that it wasn't necessarily massively impactful. But we'll get to that in a moment or two.
Look at the trap.
Death Push is available. Power of Evil flashes and does not work. And of course, because Woolite is able to turn around, look at the damage on Vizichachi. Power of Evil once again. Second charge of Spirit Rush. Overpower's going to be a little late to the fight, but look how fast Woolite is moving. With the Lulu shield, with the Nidalee attack damage. ROCCAT, super minions pouring down. It's just a matter of time.
Basically, yeah. They try to set up a trap here. Woolite flashed away from it, and then suddenly tower goes down. Next one's on 50%. They're going to get this one. Kick is trying to set a flank here. Vanda is not the target he wants, but they're going in for Nuke Dog.
Well, let's see what happens. It's Woolite that you need to take out. Forced to retreat. Dear Sentence catches on Woolite. He's down. He's been obliterated. What can Unicorns do with this? Super Minions moving towards the Nexus. Wild Growth comes out to keep the massive tree alive. Overpow's tanking out 4. He's got Bark for days and Bite to follow. Vizichachi trying to do what he can, but it's not enough. The Unicorns of Love got the only damage source.
Trevor.
It did not matter. ROCCAT follow up. They're on the Nexus and they're about to break their losing streak. ROCCAT, where have you been? Because this was a phenomenal game as they take down the Unicorns of Love in 31 minutes.
And this really is the crazy thing about ROCCAT. They did the same to Elements. Won the early game completely just, that's it, 30 minutes. And then the next day they go in and everything just falls apart for them. Then same can be said about Unicorns of Love, however. Smiles though, all around.
Smiles for ROCCAT, that's for sure. Unicorns, I think thoroughly outplayed. I think that's fair to say.
Completely outplayed.
Despite getting a positive lane in that lane stop for Chachi, despite him getting, not being hindered, ROCCAT show up. Again, there are some problems. It is against a team that's struggling, and despite the fact that there's so many saving grace tools, Woolite really did eat too many, but I really hate to pick on the guy.
He got a 4-man passive, I believe, in the end.
Oh, it's true damage. That's it.
That's it.
That
4 guys, and that's a bait as well. Anyhow, though, you are right. Yes, Woolite does get caught a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. But ROCCAT's side, despite not getting their advantage in the lane swap, they simply managed just to punish a super passive Unicorns team in the early game. Kills on the power people, we mentioned it before, he didn't show up. And then, because the early game went so heavily in favor of ROCCAT, they could just group on a Trinity 4